You might have noticed from our channel that we love to travel.
Every opportunity that I have to go somewhere new and exciting, I just want to get up and go. I started traveling at the age of 18 and I've lived in Singapore, Thailand, and Japan. And my work has also taken me to places like Malaysia, Vietnam, and Hong Kong. Most of my travel's been done in Asia, but since we've been together, I've got to cross off a lot of different continents and other amazing destinations.
For me, I've lived in Switzerland, Egypt, and Korea, and I've traveled to over 40 countries.
Daniel and I were planning on moving abroad after I finished school so that we could take on different work opportunities and have a little adventure before we start having children.
I preferred to move to a country where the cost of living was cheaper than Vancouver.
I really wanted to move to Singapore because I've lived there before and it's always been short term. We had wanted to set up our online business abroad, and then I also wanted to do some more modeling work before I get too old and expire in the modeling industry.
Though I wasn't too keen on the higher cost of living in Singapore, I was open to support Kim's dream and give Singapore a try.
When we decided that Singapore would be a good place to live for 1 or 2 years, then we hired a business consultant who was going to help us set up our business in Singapore and help us with the paperwork to get our applications done so that we could get a work pass. The Ministry of Manpower in Singapore still rejected our application.
When we got the rejection, I had peace about it. It was a huge transition for me, going through marriage planning, moving in together, and marriage, that it came with a lot of stress that ended up affecting my online work to the point that I wasn't making enough money from it anymore because I was just out of creative ideas. I started to think, if I can't make enough to live here, then how am I going to make enough to live in Singapore? And as I watched our bank balance just drop over just months and months, to me, it became less and less of a good idea to move to Singapore. And it looked like there was a very high chance that we could really fail and burn through the last of our money. So I really prayed that if this is not meant to be, please let us be rejected. And so when we were rejected, I had peace about it.
I had prayed similar prayers, but once we received the letter of rejection, I just realized how much I really, really wanted it to go through. I was really determined to find alternative solutions. I was looking into other countries or different options. I know there were a few different options that we could try, and also we could appeal the letter of rejection. I felt really frustrated that we got rejected, and I felt really frustrated also with Daniel because I felt like as soon as we got the letter of rejection that he just stopped trying, and so I kept trying to look for more opportunities. I asked friends living abroad a million questions, and somehow we were still getting so many no's. Because I knew that Daniel didn't really want to go anymore, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I felt like we really both had to be on the same page about it. I unknowingly started to feel some resentment. I really needed help researching, and I really wanted us both to be on board. What we never discussed beforehand was how far we were willing to go to make this Asia trip happen, and so I think my threshold was just really different than Daniel's. I've started working through my blame by really trying to understand how Daniel's feeling, and it's helped a lot.
This rejection has really made me think over my values. In my 20s, I wanted to explore and be adventurous. And doing all these different freelance projects gave me the freedom to do all that. But now in my 30s, I want to build a stable financial foundation for our future family. And I have difficulty seeing how that could be possible if I continue to spend more years just jumping from one project to another. Also, I'm just tired of losing money every month. As a husband and someone who wants to be a father in the future, I feel that it's time to put an end to my self-employed online work and find a full-time job instead. Honestly, I'm not so excited about it, In fact, I feel pretty sad about it all, but it seems to be the right thing to do.
We found out about the rejection about a month ago, and for the first few weeks, I really couldn't even talk about it. When I would be asked about how our move is going, I would just cry, and it was really hard to talk about. But now I'm better able to talk about it, but it's still painful. I'm trying to view this whole experience as that being here is meant to be, and that there's something else planned for us. I'm trying to look at it with excitement and curiosity, but it's also a little scary too. So now I'm like, okay, what's next? What is the plan for us? Daniel and I, we're not quitting our online work, but we're just looking for some work that's a bit more stable so that we can have sanity, knowing where our money is coming from, and then it'll give us some space to do the online work that we love to do. We will still work on We the Kims, and we will continue to show the awesome times and the not so awesome times so you guys can follow along. At our wedding a year ago, I said a speech to Daniel, and at the end I said, wherever you go, I will go. But I guess what I also meant was, if you stay, I will stay.
So if you want to see where we go from here, please stay tuned. Thanks.